We love Ray and Nikki. They've been amazing. They've been amazing as a food truck partner for us, and I like to think we were good to them too. And but yeah, they're Ray's quite a fella. For those of you that know Ray, you'll appreciate this story. You know, his humor's on the well. I mean, let's just say the brand's called Mouthole Barbecue. I think the tagline is "My meat, your mouthhole, let's party" or something along those lines. So anyway, we had heard how good this barbecue truck was way back in the day. They were going to another brewery all the time, and my wife Katie was scheduling food trucks, and she finally got Ray and Nikki to come to Calusa, and I was excited. We were all excited. We wanted to try this barbecue truck, and I even had my parents come out, and I hadn't even met them at this point. I hadn't even met Ray and Nikki, but they knew Katie. So I'm waiting in line with my mom, and we get to the front of the line, and I realize that they have one of their specials for the day. There are two specials, I believe. It was the throat choker sausage special and the Geordie and Katie 69 special. And I just kind of looked at my mom, and she looked at me, and she's like, "Oh, well, you're a special." I was like, "Yeah, well, okay, I didn't know about that." But anyway, so that was a good introduction to Ray and his ways. And then as we got to know him, I mean, it just, you know, it, stuff even got funnier. I mean, he really just doesn't give a shit about anything people think or say about him. Uh, I'm trying to think. There's some other things. I mean, he used to have a shirt on the back. I think it said "Fuck you, I'm cooking."
Yeah.
So you'd walk up to order, and that's what you'd see. And I think in time we were able to kind of tame him a little, at least when he came to Calusa, because we're like, hey, maybe tone it down for our clientele just a little bit. We would kind of like talk to Nikki about it, not directly to Ray. They did a taco Tuesdays for us for a while, and they would set up a taco stand inside the tap room. And it was like they'd give you the meat, and then you'd put your own condiments on. I think there was a sign that uh, said this is not a fucking salad bar or something like that. Like, don't take too much of the condiments or something. And there was also a sign by the utensils that said like these utensils are for paying customers. So if you're not, like, fuck off or something like that. So we would slowly get Nikki to like, hey, maybe take the F word out of these things. But all in all, it all worked out. It's all in good fun. But
And he likes to smoke cigars on the back patio, kind of when things are done. Didn't somebody take some issue with that one time?
yeah, yeah, there was some kind of review, and I mean, don't quote me on this, but so he had a food truck made, a different truck. I believe I think that's correct. The truck he showed up with at first was his old food truck. He had a custom one built, and he had a patio built in the back of it. Ray's a cigar aficionado. He loves his cigars, and he would often like take breaks if there wasn't a line or whatever, and he'd smoke cigars with his buddies on his little patio built onto the back of the food truck. Well, he had some kind of bad review, 1 star review, or whatever it was, and the lady, I forget exactly what she said. I think she said the food was good, but it was off putting because he was smoking a cigar on the back of his food truck or something along those lines. And he responded in classic Ray fashion with something like, why the fuck do you think I built this patio on the back? It's to smoke cigars, something like that. It was just like, oh man.
So who handles
Different way of responding to people than we would do it, but hey, different strokes for different folks.
who handles all the reviews here?
I think Vic handles a lot of them. Jason will, if it's beer related, sometimes
Yeah.
Jason will pitch in, and if it pertains to like the technicality of beer, whatever it is. But
Sure.
for the most part, Vic has done it over the years.
Yeah. And you ever just look at one and type out what you want to say and read it once and delete it?
I don't think I'm a good person to do review to answer people because I mean I wouldn't necessarily do it like. And again, Ray, I'm not saying your way is wrong. Everybody's got their way of doing things, and I wouldn't necessarily respond the way Ray does, but I also don't think I would be as nice as Vic is sometimes, which is I think the right way to do it. You know, Vic handles them really well, I think, and yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I think I let my emotions get the better side of me, so it's probably good that I don't do it. But.
Yeah, well, somebody once told me that's like you're not really responding to the reviewer, you're responding to the rest of your audience. And when I started looking at like that, I got a lot kinder because by telling that person what you want to say, you're probably going to lose them forever. But the problem is you're going to lose some other people that are reading that would give you the benefit of the doubt, or if they see you respond with kindness or professionalism, they'll respect you. But I also think that Ray just has an army of followers.
Well, I was going to say, then there's also the other side of the coin where, you know, some people like me, I'll look at a business owner that gives it right back to the person, and I'm like, hell yeah, like they fuck that girl or whatever it is, you know. So I think there's definitely something to be said for that too. That clearly works for Mouthole, you know.
Yeah. Well, it works when you have a product that can stand for itself too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, at this point, you know, with us being around for 8 years and them being around for, you know, longer than that or whatever it is, it would be weird if I chimed in and responded like Ray does on Calusa's page. And it would be weird if Ray was all, you know, teddy bear nice to people on his page. So we've kind of established our ways of dealing with things separately. But yeah, you know,
I'm a firm believer the star system is useless in Google. It should be, do you recommend them or not? When you give it a numerical value, where it can be from 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then they obviously break it down into like 4.8. Like, that's not realistic. It's not fair because so many businesses just expect, you know, 5-star, and anything below that is horrible. When in reality, to me, always like 5-star would be like above and beyond expectations. Like there should be like that middle ground. Like this is a great place. They do a great job. But if they exceed all your expectations, then boom, there you go. Like that's where you get like that 5th star and stuff. So I feel like they've always kind of catered towards forcing companies to almost demand a 5-star review out of their customers. Like, hey, you know, if you give me a 5-star review about your experience, we'll give you XYZ. And it's really created a bad culture, and Google has a stranglehold on that to where they can kind of bring you down in their system where you're shown in the maps in Google My Businesses. Like if you're not a 5, like if somebody's higher than you, they're going to be shown above you just because you're rating that way and how quickly you respond to people.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe it should be turned into a recommend or do not recommend. You know, okay, why don't you recommend them? And that's where you plead your case. Like, oh, you know, Gray's smoking a cigar on the back patio. Not, you know, like, oh, I drove by and they're closed. They get a 1 star. Like that should have no bearing on a restaurant.
Well, that's where it sucks.
And that's
I mean,
Google.
We're fortunate enough to have, you know, we've always had pretty good reviews and ratings. But yeah, like you said, you get the person that drives by and it's closed, and now they give you a bad review. I mean, that sucks. You know, but again, Vic has always been really good about getting reviews taken down when they're not appropriate. What's the word?
Not
like,
applicable.
Yeah. Like that kind of thing. Right. You know, and he's also very good about responding to people quickly. That's always been something that he's done, and I would not be nearly as good at that. I don't check this stuff very much, so. But
I just read a bad Yelp review, and I was just like, I haven't even checked Yelp reviews in the 4 years I've been open.
I don't know if people still do Yelp reviews.
Right.
Well, for a long time, I kind of had this mindset of like, I don't really care. Like we know we're doing things right. We know we're making good product. We know our customer service is good. So I'm not going to bother myself with like the Joe Rogan mantra. You know, he doesn't like, not that we're comparable to Joe Rogan on it, but you know, in social media, he doesn't check. You know, he doesn't ever look at, he never checks what anybody says about him. And I kind of had that mindset, but then at the same time, then you miss the opportunity to maybe change somebody's mind about things. And I think that's where Vic's strength has come in a lot, where I'm more of like, I don't really give a shit what you say about me. I know we're doing things right over here, so I'm not going to listen to the chatter. But then Vic comes at it from a different angle. He's like, well, you know, maybe we can change that chatter and turn that person into a fan. And he's been great at that at times. So, you know, again, different strokes.
Yeah.
But
cool. Well, you told us some great origin stories of Calusa, and I'd love to come back in a little while as we build this thing. And I'd love to come back and revisit that conversation because it was
sure.